Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing something exciting because it means I get to declutter and I love to declutter. So basically we're doing a book unhaul, which is always fun. I've already done one on this channel before, and like right when I first started making videos, and I had a good time. But this time we're unhauling, I'm pretty sure, like a lot more books. I have a huge bag of books sitting right here next to me. But before we get started, I do want to talk a little bit about changes on my channel. I'm back in my apartment for college, so the noises of cars going past my room are back probably. I have a new setup, so I don't know if you're going to be able to hear that still, but happy birthday to my new setup. I love it. I am obsessed with it, so I hope you guys like it too. I would enjoy feedback. But anyways, let's get into the book haul because we're going to be talking about a lot of books. The first book we're going to unhaul today is The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. I read this book what feels like a million years ago. I'm pretty sure it was like my freshman year of college, and I loved it back then, and I do not know how I feel about it now, but I do not plan on rereading it, and so that's why I'm going to get rid of it, because it's just shelf space that I don't need. I'm not emotionally attached to it, so it's just going. The next thing we're unhauling is the entire Game of Thrones series, or as it is right now. I planned on reading these. I only read the first one, and it's pretty annotated and banged up, but I just tried to read Clash of Kings so many times now, and I just don't think I ever will. And now that the show is over, I'm not as into it anymore, and I don't feel like waiting on the last book if I did read them, so I'm just not going to. So they are going to a new home. The next book I'm unhauling is A Very Large Expanse of the Sea by Tara Maffei. I haven't read this book. I've heard mixed reviews of this book, but I just am not that interested in it. I think if I ever do read it, it'll probably be from my library, and I just think it was taking up shelf space because I don't plan on getting to it anytime soon. And I'm also not a huge fan of Tara Maffei's writing, so that's another reason I bought this, because it was on sale. You know, I'm an addict. The next book is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I love this movie. I actually just talked about this book in a video that I posted called My Most Disappointing Reads, and in that video I talked about how I love this movie. I still love this movie. I will always love this movie, but when I read the book after I saw the movie, I did not like it. I think I gave it a higher rating than I actually wanted to, just because I was so mad at myself for not liking it and still loving the movie, and that is weird, but that was a long time ago. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie to myself anymore. I'm not gonna lie to y'all anymore. I hated this book, and it will not stay on my shelf. The next books I'm gonna unhaul is another series, and I don't even know if this is a series or just like companions or a complete series. I have no idea. I bought these from the thrift store thinking I was gonna read them this summer, and I'm not. I'm not gonna. Summer's over. I'm not gonna read them now. I have too much to read. I've never seen Wicked. I would like to, but I think I'd rather see the play than read the book. The next two books I'm gonna unhaul is ones that I really don't want to, because I still would love to read this series, but every time I try, I can't do it. I can't do it. I even was going to do a video of me reading the series for the first time, vlogging it, because I had DNF'd the series 3 times already, or just the first book in the series, but that I DNF'd it again, so you'll never see that video. But that is Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. I have both of these books, and I just think it's time to yeet them out my window, because I just don't think I'm going to read them. I think if I do ever decide to try Throne of Glass again, it will probably be on audiobook, because looking at the text I'm just tired of it. I've got to the same 70 pages every time and then dumped out. So I think it's time for these to go. The next book is Vengeance Road by Erin Bowman. I love this cover. This is one of my favorite covers I've ever owned, and that is the sole reason that I have been keeping this book for so long, because I did not like it. And it's probably because it's historical fiction and it's a Western, and that's just how I work. But there's other things I didn't like about it too. I have a review of it, but I just did not enjoy this book. I'm sad it has such a beautiful cover, and I'm sad to get rid of it, but again, it's just taking up shelf space that I don't have. The next book is Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. I actually really like Milk and Honey a lot. When I read it, I think I read this one my freshman year of college too. I really enjoyed it, and I think some of it's a little cliche, but there's some really good poems in there. I don't read a lot of poetry, and I think that's why I'm unhauling it, is that I don't think I'll ever reread Milk and Honey as much as I did enjoy it, and just don't need it taking up space. The next two books I'm actually very sad to see go, and it's more of a sentimental thing than like a I like this book and I want to keep it thing. It's because because I haven't read them. That is The Raven God and The Blue Witch. Both of these are by Elaine Adams, and they are, I think they're from two different series, but it's a companion series. And I think this is like the first book in the companion series, and this is the last book in the original series. And these are middle grade novels. This one is Legends of Orkney, and this one is Witches of Orkney. I have heard good things about these books, but the reason they are sentimental to me is because these were the first arcs I was ever sent by a publishing company, and I just like feel attached to them. But I am never going to read them. One, this is the fifth book in a series that I have not read, and I have no interest in reading this series because I haven't read this series. So they just need to go to another home, to someone who would actually read them, because it's not me, and I'm only holding on to them for reasons that are kind of just... The next book I'm unhauling I have no ill will against whatsoever, and that is Peter and the Starcatchers by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. The only reason that I'm unhauling this paperback copy is because I got a hardback copy for my birthday, and I haven't read this series yet, but I'm a huge Peter Pan fan, as you can probably see from my Peter Pan shelf right there. But I really want to read this series, and yeah, I just don't need the paperback anymore. The next book I'm unhauling is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. I actually have another copy of this book. This is the UK copy that I got in a fairy loot, and I really wanted the US edition because I just think it is so much prettier. I haven't read this book yet, but I am very soon, and you'll see why later. But I have heard very mixed things about this series, but I personally think I'm gonna like it. I hope. And I just wanted the prettier copy, so I'm getting rid of this one. The next book is Go Set a Watchman by Harper Lee. Harper Lee means a lot to me, means a lot to my state and my town. I loved To Kill a Mockingbird when I was younger, and this is her book that she actually wrote before To Kill a Mockingbird, I'm pretty sure, but it was published after, a long time after. And my grandmother actually got this book for me because she knows I love Harper Lee so much, and she got it for me when I was like in high school when it came out. So I have not read it, and I just think it's been on my shelf for so long, and I don't think I'll ever read it. So even though it was a gift and I feel bad getting rid of it, I am going to. The next book I'm getting rid of is kind of a beloved book, so I feel a little bad because I still haven't got a chance to read this one, but that is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I know a lot of people who really love this book. One of my best friends, this is one of his favorite books, but I have no interest whatsoever in reading this book. I don't even really remember what it's about. I know it's a dual perspective of a boy and a girl, and I think they're siblings, but contemporary is just not really my thing. If I don't read contemporaries that I own for a while after having them, I just get rid of them because I lose interest pretty quickly. The next book is Because You Love to Hate Me by lots of people. This is a collection of stories from different authors, and the reason I got this in the first place was to support booktubers, because there are a few booktubers that are credited on this book, and I have just never read it, and it's not high priority, and I don't think I would enjoy it that much, so I got it to support booktubers. I think I did the deed by supporting them, and even though I haven't read it, I just think it's time for it to leave my shelf. The next book is another book I got in a fairy loot, and that is Wicked Like a Wildfire. I have never been interested in this book. I just got it in the fairy loot, and I wasn't a huge fan of the synopsis or anything. It didn't really grab me, so I haven't read this one either, but my roommate has, and she told me that she didn't think I'd like it very much, so I'm just gonna unhaul it, because I wasn't planning on getting to it in the first place probably, and she said I wouldn't like it, so I believe her, so it's going. Another fairy loot book is Beyond a Darkened Shore. I also had no interest in reading this one. I used to get fairy loots without knowing what book was going to be in it, and like I got really obsessed with them when I first got in the book community, so I have a ton of them that I've just never read. And I remember like the first fairy loot book I read, I hated. And I it turned me off for the rest of them, because, and I know they're completely different books, but I just have something about me. Yeah, so this book I'm pretty sure is about Vikings, and I wanted to read it. Honestly, after I read the synopsis, I was like, that sounds pretty good, I'll read it one day, and it's probably been 2 years now, so I don't think I'm going to read it, and I think it is time that this crow leaves the nest. And now we have another fairy loot book, but this one I actually read, and that is These Rebel Waves by Sarah Roch. So I actually like this book, okay? Like, I didn't like it and I didn't hate it. It was like the most average book I've ever read in my life. I had nothing against it, but I also wasn't really interested in continuing the series, so that is the main reason I'm unhauling this, because it is still a very beautiful book, and I still really like it, and it's actually made it through a few unhauls now, and it even got damaged when my apartment flooded, but I held on to it, and I just couldn't really fit it on my shelf anywhere, and I was like, you know what, the second book came out and you didn't even think about reading it, so this one's gotta go. The next book I'm unhauling is actually a school book, but I did enjoy, and that is The Tempest by Shakespeare. It's a little bit, things happen in your backpack, but I read this for school. I really enjoyed it, just don't think I'll ever get to it again, and my classic shelf was really full, so I decided to get rid of this one. Now, the next one I do have some ill will against, and it is time that it just leaves all of our shelves, and that is Paper Girls by Brian K. Vaughan. Didn't like this one at all. It was just one of the worst graphic novels I've ever read in my life. The art is absolutely tremendous, but the story is a little stanky. Okay, so yeah, I'm unhauling this one for obvious reasons. I did not like it. I do not plan on continuing the series, and I don't want it on my shelf. On the absolute opposite hand is Saga by the same author, and I love Saga so much. I love this whole series. I haven't read the last book yet, but I'm getting there. I've read them all except for that, and I would actually like to have all of them, but it's just not feasible for me right now to, one, buy all of them, because I bought this one from a used bookstore, and two, I don't have the shelf space, and three, they're like just like the spines don't do anything for me. They're so skinny. It's just not something I have to own, even though I do adore these so much. It's just, you don't have to own every book you like sometimes, and that's okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna unhaul it, and someone else will hopefully love it just as much as I did. The last book I'm gonna unhaul is one I should have unhauled a long time ago, but I kept thinking that I was eventually gonna read it, and I'm not gonna read it ever. I know that for sure, and I knew that back then too, but I was like, but what if I do? you know. So that is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. I don't like Cassandra Clare's writing. I didn't like The Mortal Instruments. I haven't read Infernal Devices, and I would actually like to read that one. But even if I read Infernal Devices, I do not think I'll ever read Lady Midnight or any of the books in this series, because they are absolutely huge, and just I'm not interested. And yeah, I should have unhauled this one a long time ago, but she's leaving the building now. Alright, that is all the books I had to unhaul for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video, even if I did unhaul one of your favorite books. You know, these just didn't do it for me. Some I just don't think I'll ever read, and then some I liked, but they just didn't belong here anymore, and that's okay. But thank you so much for watching. Like I said, if you did enjoy this video, give me a like and a comment, and subscribe if you want, and I will see you guys next time. Baby.